Sato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning to you for episode 39 in this series. And before I get to into this episode, I appreciate everybody giving their comments and sharing these. It's always a big help. They're getting very popular. One thing I want to add too is if you have an idea for a topic, something you'd like me to talk about, something that's interesting to you that I haven't touched on yet, please feel free, message me, post something to these links wherever you see them, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. I'll be more than happy to see what I can do to talk about a topic that you'd like me to talk about. Well, what I want to talk about today is actually part 2 of bad practice management advice. Yes, backed by popular demand after last episode. I actually thought of some more things that are bad practice management advice, because I can tell you from being out there and speaking to doctors, there is no shortage of bad advice that you can be getting from people that claim to know what they're talking about, that ends up keeping you right where you are and not making things any better. So let me give you a few more insights on this, because again, the worst thing you can do in practice, and I always tell people this, is nothing. All right? Do something. It's always better than nothing. Is it going to be the right thing necessarily? Is it going to be the best thing necessarily? No. But, you can learn from your mistakes from time to time. But, you have to, intelligently and do your due diligence here and try something out there and do something. Because I can tell you how many times that, doctors go into their heads about stuff and they contemplate and they overanalyze, this paralysis by analysis kind of thing, and they end up doing nothing. And they think, well, nothing is better because at least I'm safe and secure staying where I am. Okay, look, that's a sure route to an eventual plummet in your practice. Things don't stay the same in practice. They're either getting better or they're getting worse. Ask yourself this question when you look at your practice. Are things getting better or they're getting worse? Nothing ever stays the same in life, in all aspects of your practice. And if you're plateaued and stuck where you are in this rut, and I had a famous line that one of my clients from years ago used to say, hey, Mike, who got the big idea, he said to me, you know what a rut is? A rut is a grave with the ends kicked out. All right, it's a good visual right there. That's all a rut is. And if you're stuck in this rut and going nowhere, you better change something for the better and get on it. All right, and try something, because doing nothing is the worst thing you can possibly do. It's all about cause and effect. Right? You want to sit there at effect and wait till things happen and wait for things to occur. More than likely, something bad's going to happen. Things are going to start to go down, and you may notice this after a while. And by the way, if you're staying flat for a long period of time, you're losing money. That's what happens. Cost of everything goes up. Cost of living goes up every year. Cost of supplies and doing business goes up every year, and you're making less money. You're not making the same money. All right. Cost of paying your employees, everything goes up. All right. So why should that be? You should be growing, creating the next game, doing something. All right. So whenever it gives you advice of just doing nothing, you tell them, well, I better do something, instead of complaining about it, which we're good at doing. We're good at complaining things and not doing much about it. So you got to get into action and do something, and get someone in your life that you can trust, that's going to work with you, who's an expert at doing this thing. All right. So it's very important. Now, another thing I've also heard is that, maybe you're better off saving the money. I don't understand this concept. What are we saving this money for? All right, a rainy day? I don't understand. A retirement that's not fully funded. Another thing that we need to buy in the practice another thing. Buy the toys first. Doctors love buying the toys. It's amazing. We have to have all those toys. And use an example of pick any of the big dental meetings that we go to as dentists. You walk down the aisles with your imaginary shopping cart, and by the time you're out of there, you're 100,000 in the hole of toys. Lasers and pans and Cephs and we got Cerex and everything. It's all great. It's wonderful tools, but these things in and of itself don't make you any money if you don't have the proper training and systems and operations in place to support these toys. You have a beautiful, I've seen this many times, beautiful state-of-the-art offices that are struggling. Right? So toys are important, but in matter of priorities, you got to at least have a budget to put into the training and development of your team, and the business aspect of your practice, the marketing aspect of your practice, the sales aspect of your practice, things like that. But again, the toys don't take priority, and I've heard this so many times. All right, but saving the money, I don't get what we're saving the money for. Just to slowly go die slower death in practice. I met a woman the other day in practice, and we were talking about taking the quote unquote calculated, or the risk, so to speak, of going forward. And I said, what would you rather do, honestly, if you really look at the situation? Would you rather die a slow death in practice, which is where it's going, or would you rather go down in a blaze of glory trying? I'd rather go down a blaze-of-glory trying. And guess what? You're not going to go down a blaze-of-glory trying if you do your due diligence and pick the right people to work with. All right. Granted, there's a lot in this field to be desired. All right. There's a lot of companies out there that sell information and don't sell a result. I don't do that. I sell a result. I have tons of information, piles of it. Books of it's great. There's a thing called the internet. You want information, go to the internet and download the internet. Well, stuff off the internet. You can get reams of paper. That stuff in and of itself is going to do nothing. Just like my binder. It's a beautiful binder. It's gorgeous. 275 pages of material right now. Just re-released it. And I may have said this before, but what do you get when you pay for that? A very expensive binder. That's what it ends up being. The binder, you may have binders like this and DVDs and CDs lying all around the office. That stuff in and of itself does not do anything for your practice. The implementation of that to affect change is. All right? So again, prioritizing. Where are you putting your money? And go for it. Nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, we tried. We know we did everything we possibly could to get where we want to be. Okay? So a lot of times we get in fear and doubt, and that stops us from doing what we need to do. All right. Now another thing is, this is one of my other favorites that I hear from time to time that just flabbergasts me every time I hear it. That I have a doctor who I'll be speaking to and talking to about the program and about getting help and doing something with their practice. And they'll look at me and say, Mike, this sounds phenomenal. This is great. I really need this, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try some practice management on my own first and see how that goes, and then I'll get back to you. All right. So let's just take that statement there for a second real quick. Let's use an analogy. If you had a patient in the chair that needed dental work, and pretty badly, and they said, doc, I understand. I need this work. It's important. You made it very clear to me. I need to get it done. But here's what I'm going to do. Before I invest in this dental work, I'm going to basically try some dentistry on my own for a while and then get back to you. What would you say to that? You'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's insane. Okay? Because what? You can't do, home dentistry on your own and see if it's going to work. All right? Even if you could, it would be a disaster. All right, it's the same thing with practice management and the business part of your practice. Why would you want to just do trial and error and just do something you're not expert in doing? Do you ever have something in life that needed a professional to fix and you tried messing around with yourself? What happened? It ended up costing you more money anyway. Sometimes it's good, to basically get an expert to help you do what you got to do in this area and stop wasting time and money muddling around. Throwing the old expression, throwing water at the wall and see if it sticks. Right? You're not going to get anywhere doing that. Why would you want to gamble? That time is money. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a client tell me over the years, Mike, if I only did this program, fill in the blank, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know how much faster I would have been here, what cost it's costing you. Don't delay. If you have the realization you need help, whatever, get it. There's nothing wrong with getting help. I understand people are fearful and worried about help because they get screwed from time to time. Look, I can tell you on my aspect for go read my reviews, go read what's out there about what we do with Staff Driven. But again, if that's not right for you or whatever, but go do your own research on your own and find out. Make an educated decision. But again, just like anything else, okay, if you want to learn implants, what do? Fumble around and trial and error with implants, or do you go out and learn implants and do them the right way, become a professional at what you do? Be a professional. The world is full of amateurs. We don't need more amateurs out there. Become a professional at this as well too. When you become a professional at business and practice management, guess what happens? Things get better. You make more money. You're happier in practice. You have less stress. That's what it's all about. Okay? So again, there's a lot of bad practice management or a lot of bad advice when it comes to your life, making you more money, having better practice. Listen to someone who knows what they're talking about. All right? That's the best thing. I look for my other favorite one. Your supply rep comes in. Oh, I love this one. Okay? And the supply rep or some kind of rep comes in the door who's selling you products or equipment or whatever and insists they have some great ideas how to help you with their practice. They may have some great ideas and then they leave. What happened to the execution of these ideas? There's the what to do and there's the how to do it. There's the what to say and there's the how to say it. To make sure that any of these ideas would work in your particular practice. It may be work for some practices, but how well do they really know your practice inside and out and day to day? They're in and out of there, right? And that's not their expertise. Their expertise is selling a product or their particular piece of equipment or technology. I don't pretend as a consultant when I work with a client that I know what I'm talking about. I don't push products. I don't push, technology. I make suggestions about everything, but I say if you're going to have this, you better talk to someone who knows what they're talking about and make an educated decision before you invest in this technology or product for your practice. That's all. I stick to what I know. I do one thing. I do practice management. I do practice growth. The business and people part of what I do. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, right? And again, that's where you should hear from people that know what they're talking about and what they're doing, and they can actually back it up and show you, and they can not just talk the talk, all right? Walk the walk, all right? So again, I hope this was interesting, and you got a lot out of this, and you protect yourself more from taking some bad practice management advice. I'll be back with big episode 40, big 40, before you know it, and I'll be back soon.